Hi, welcome to Looking Through the Glass. Today is another beautiful day, and we have, of course, Giselle, me, and today we have Avonlea Lightstone again. Woo! We love her so much. She likes us so much that we just decided to continue on with our conversations.
Never know what we're going to talk about, but we figure it out.
yeah, yeah, we never know what we're going to talk about. We wing it every time, but every time we all feel that we just really talk about something that's really needed. And today we're going to talk a little bit, we're going to touch more on the postpartum. Postpartum is something that millions of women are going through right now. And it's not something that lasts a day. It's not something that lasts a month. It's not something that lasts only 1 year, but it can last a few years. There's a big, giant, gaping hole in these women that is a huge sword, and we're not taking care of them, and they're not taking care of themselves. So we need to figure out or talk about it and say maybe, if there's anything that we're not doing or that we could be doing.
I feel like talking about it is the best thing because I feel that it's another one of those taboo things to talk about where social life says, "Oh, you're only going to have 6 weeks of postpartum after having a baby." And that is what work does to us. That's what, you know, life does for us. And some women don't even take those 6 weeks. Some women are going back to work within a few days of after having a baby.
Yeah.
And we don't recognize the mental toll it has. Some women don't have the support system. I'm lucky enough to have a support system while I'm going through my postpartum, but reaching out has been one of the hardest things, especially because I'm hard-headed and stubborn, and I feel like I'm asking too much. Um, being able to recognize that you're not too much when you're asking for help to take a shower or to feed yourself. Those simple tasks are extremely hard for me. It is literally like depression. When you have depression, you taking a shower is the hardest task. And sometimes getting up out of bed is the hardest task. But as a mother, you have to get up out of bed because you have a diaper to change, you have a bottle to make, you have clothes to change. Those that's the difference between depression and postpartum is it forces you to get up and do something, but you're not doing it for yourself.
Yeah, I agree with you, Giselle. Um, when I think it's kind of different for everybody.
Every
Some
pregnancy is different, that's for
Yeah.
sure.
and also depending on your like background too can be challenging. So if you come from an abusive background and then you get pregnant, like for instance with me, I've shared my story of like the abuse that I've gone through, and I didn't want to have kids for a long time because of what I went through, and I didn't want to pass that on to my kids.
Hmm.
But I ended up getting pregnant fairly early, like 5 months after I got married, and I was so upset, so angry. I wasn't happy with my pregnancy because I just knew that I still had internal damages that I needed to fix. I was still insecure. I was still broken in many ways. And you know, you have this perfection of like the scope of imagination, knowing that hey, there's this when you're ready to have a child, then you're perfect at that point. But you're not. You're so vulnerable, very much vulnerable.
Avonlea,
And
you really hit on a really good part. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't mean to
no,
interrupt. Go
go
ahead, never
ahead.
mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say you hit on a really good part. I was going to interrupt Giselle, but this is something that I have been working on. Is the interrupting part, which I obviously still need work on. Um, Giselle, a lot of things that I was hearing also is, like Avonlea was saying, is coming from a home of abuse. As the person, one of the abusers, as one of those abusers, I can see where um, not healing or not getting the opportunity or not understanding how unhealed you really are, which you started your healing journey prior, but postpartum, I think, really just unheals all the things that you healed. Not to say that you're unhealed, not to say that you're unhealed. You've done the work, you've put in the work, but it just shows you exactly how wounded that you still are, or how band-aid those wounds are.
Yep.
That's for sure. There's a lot of wounds that I thought through the pregnancy, and it's especially postpartum, I have started to realize I am not as healed as I thought I was. I've
Yeah.
always, because I've always been a, we're just gonna push forward type of person. We're gonna get through this, and that's back there. This is now, and that's how I've always been. Um, but as I have been going through this postpartum, and then things are happening in other people's lives around me, and people come to me, I have noticed that there's like certain things that you do that triggers the ever living hell out of me. And then
Mm-hmm.
things that my husband does, it triggers me. There's just things that multiple things are going on around me that are just simply smallest of things, just triggering. And um and another thing that I read earlier was the postpartum rage. It's real. Like, you're overstimulated, you're constantly needed
Mm-hmm.
by everybody around you. I mean, as small as just the animals needing your attention, you're getting overwhelmed, and you have to eat, but you're not eating, so now you're hungry, and then you're starving yourself, and then you have that hunger and anger, that the hangry, and it's just everything starts building up, and trying to be able to get your mind to focus on one thing is nearly impossible. At least for me, it has been almost nearly impossible to go, okay, I need to do this and focus on this. Instead, I have 16 million things going on all at once. I need to do this. So I forget to give myself a shower because I finally got the baby bathed and dressed, and getting her ready for bed. And instead of simply handing her to my husband and going, can you do this? Because now I feel like I'm a bad mom.
Which is the furthest from the truth.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're not, Giselle. Like, um, you touched on a point where it's like, um, there's just so much on you, and you don't know, like people are triggering you, and but the thing is, when we become mothers, it's like a part of us instinctually had been placed up on like a different stair, that and a role that we have to take, and we're taking in extra responsibilities because naturally that's kind of like what mothers do. We can naturally pick up on cues that we need to take
Hmm.
on, and something that we weren't taking on before because this is a completely different lifestyle now, and it's not something that you can ignore, and it starts becoming part of your everyday life and routine, and it becomes like almost a burden because sometimes it can be so heavy at times, especially after you delivered a baby and you're in pain and you have to feed, get up early in the morning, how many hours, taking care of the baby, you're not even taking care of yourself. There's just so much that goes into caring for this new life, and you just don't feel like you have that time to take care of yourself. And I think this is where the stigma of like not having a proper way of helping motherhood, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know, like when I was first pregnant with my daughter, I had a hard time, Giselle. Like, um, with my story and my background and abuse, I didn't exactly know how to take care of my child in some ways. And I didn't know how to ask for help. My mother didn't come. Like, she came and, like, saw my baby maybe one day and then she was gone. My mother in law, and that's another hard part, is I was, oh, she was my my husband's first grandbaby. And I was expecting, since it's your first, that you would be there and help out, and I really wanted that. But at the same time, I didn't say anything because I didn't know where I stood with her and where I was crossing the paths. I just didn't know the boundaries of it. I didn't want to like put all this on her either. So I just didn't ask for any help. And she just came around just to check, just to see and congratulate me with the baby, and that was it. And so it was really hard trying to navigate this all by myself. And like you said, there's some people that are very fortunate to have that 6 week time and have their husband there to help them, right? I didn't have that. My husband had to leave like 2 days after to go back to school, go back to work, and this is with all three of my babies, and just being alone and taking all of this and not having any help, not being able to shower, feeling stinky, and having to feed yourself, feeding your husband, feeding your kids, like all of that just starts just adding up, and you just have a meltdown. And there's times when you end up having some thoughts that come into your mind. I remember, like, this is so awful of me, but this is how really important, why you need help. I wish that there was like some sort of like an app where, in like a neighborhood app, if you're a newly parent and you need help, that you can send out like, hey, somebody help me watch the baby while I go to take a 30-minute nap or a shower, and somebody in your neighborhood can just like click in and say, hey, I'm available, I can come help. Like, I wish there was something like that.
Some really smart person's really going to hear this and probably make something.
I'm sure. Like, I think this would be such a great idea, because that's one way we can unite with our neighbors. Like, we need human.
It takes a village.
Community. Yeah,
It does take a village, and
Yeah.
I think that through the years of our the progression, so called, that we have done as civilization, we have really decreased progression and went backwards in community and in being there for your neighborhood. Hey, there's a mom down the street that has to go to work because, well, she's a single mom. She has to go to work. If she misses work, she loses her job and she can't pay her bills, but her babysitter's sick. So now what is she going to do? And if she doesn't have any, and a lot of people, and I'm not saying this is only women, because men do go through this as well as far as that part goes. But, it takes a community. It really does take a community to, especially for the mothers that are brand new, it takes a community to be around them, to take care of them. Because, like, we were talking, Giselle and I were talking, and we both do this. And I don't even have a baby, so I'm not going through. So this is something that I think that is showing another passed down thing. But you walk and it's just exasperated. But she'll be starving. She'll be starving, and then you open up the fridge and you see the food, and you're just like, I don't even know. I can't even, like, I go into fawn mode. I could go into fawn mode because I don't even know what to do at that point. There's all these decisions to make, and it's just overwhelming. So I close the refrigerator door, and then I just say, never mind, I'll go hungry. And that's exactly the things that she's doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is.
It's very easy to do that. I even tried getting to the point where I just something quick, like something frozen, I could just throw in the air fryer or just throw in the oven real fast. Even then, it's just too many decisions. I don't feel like dealing with it. I'm good. I rather just sit there and drink a water and I'll be fine.
Yeah.
And which is a very bad thing, because you're allowing yourself, choosing suffering. You're allowing yourself to suffer. And it's not your choosing, it's that overwhelmingness, and that takes over. And what does it do is it throws you right into the
Survival.
freeze fawn, or the fight or fight mode, which your body's already going in there, because one, you have a giant wound because you just had a baby. So inside you, all of your organs and all of the everything is still trying to go back and navigate its place back to where it belongs. So you still have, even though it's been months, you still have a hole in your stomach on the inside of you. Nobody can see it, but it's there. And that absolutely has so much to do with it. The hormones that go along, oh my lord, can't even begin with that part. Like, we can have a whole episode just based on the hormones and what it's doing to you. But then you're a mom. What happens when you're a mom, for women, you naturally become so super hyper vigilant. For a person that's already hyper vigilant or super vigilant, that has been through abuse, imagine how much more you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, sometimes it's hard to take the emotions and put them in place on what emotions I'm feeling, whether it's angry or honestly even grieving. There's points where and I've talked to other people about this, grieving my past life before I had the baby. I have wanted to be a mom for the last 10 years. I have miscarried, and so she's my rainbow baby. And but you don't realize how many people stop talking to you or ain't coming around simply because you now have a baby. Because you have this little bundle of life that is a part of you that you carry around with you everywhere you go, because that is a part of you. That's something you're taking care of. That's something you're raising. You're raising a little tiny human. These people abandon you, and that's what it feels like. It's abandonment, and because you brought something into this world, and they feel awkward or weird or whatever's going on in their mind, so they stop coming around. And you already have so much going on in your mind that you forget, you don't reach out, you don't message, you don't. So, and then sometimes these people will put the blame on you because you didn't reach out. And it's like, well, I'm sitting here going, what did I do wrong other than give birth and give life to a child? And you no longer want to talk to me. You no longer invite me to go do something, whether it's to go shopping. You no longer invite me to, just dinners. You never no longer said, hey, I'm just going to show up. Let's hang out at your house for, a couple hours. And that right there makes it so much harder, because now all your friends no longer want to be around you, or so it feels like. And I think that's what makes it even harder, because now you're going, I don't want to ask for help because I feel like I'm just a burden with my child. I'm too much. And, or they just don't want to hear a screaming baby. And because some people have, you know,
But your baby doesn't scream.
well,
Just
she
like she
doesn't.
yells at you, she'll holler at you, she'll at you, but like, that's just her letting you know. I want to be faced on the outside, looking out. I want to pay attention to what's going on. But yeah, and it was so bad that the other day Giselle and I had made plans for some self love. That this poor girl hasn't gone out and gotten her feet done or anything, her eyebrows done since before the pregnancy. And with the pregnancy, her feet swelled up, so there was some dry skin and stuff like that. So we went out and got our feet done, and she was asking me, the grandmother of this baby, is it okay? What do you mean? Is it okay if you bring my grandchild? Number one, I'm gonna put it to you like this: that ain't my baby. It ain't my problem. Number one, but not to say that, if I wanted to be like that, if you want to be like that, then that's how you can be, like she was saying, she's like, it's me taking care of the baby, not anybody else. Why are they so afraid of going out with me with the baby? I'm the one that's got to deal with her. I'm the one that's handling the crying. I'm the one making the bottles. I'm the one trying to find a spot to change her diaper. I'm the one that's going doing all of this stuff. How come they're not wanting anything to do with me when I'm the one that's dealing with all of this? I'm not asking them to do it.
Yeah. I think it comes down to like the dysfunction of community, that we're like far from connection. I really
Yeah.
do think that we've lost our touch in helping each other, being able to talk to each other, and even knowing our neighbors. Like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
how far have we become where our closest neighbors are strangers and we don't
Yeah.
even know them? Like,
You are
there's,
so correct.
I think if we went back in time and we didn't have any like cell phones or internet and we just connected and talked to each other, hey, you're pregnant, when are you due? Oh, okay. Here, I brought you some food. How can I help you? I think if like Giselle, like I totally understand when friends just kind of like leave you because again, like we're not like, I guess like like I don't know, habitating with society as a whole, that we don't know as even friends how to help our friends that are becoming new mothers. It's also a different role, but that doesn't mean like, hey, you need to slip away from being that person's friend. And I don't, it's almost like they just like leave and say, well, you're a mother, I'm not there, and you have a lot more on your plate, and I can't help you because I don't know how to change a diaper. I don't want to be like spit upon from a baby. I don't want to have to deal with that cry. I'll wait until I do have a baby. And then by then, you guys, probably split off.
The
But like,
relationships have ended.
yeah, but what if friends just saw that and say, hey, we're still friends. What can I do to provide help with you? Hey, I could show up and talk to you, laugh with you, even when you're having a baby, like even if you have your baby, and I can take care of the baby. Oh, the baby threw up on you. Like we could still have the same conversation, but instead there's a baby there. And there's nothing wrong, there's no hurt. And again, it just comes down to, I don't know if people understand how to react or how to offer help because they might feel awkward. And we as parents don't know exactly how to ask for help because it's also new for us. Like, hey,
Mhm.
we don't want to put so much stress. We don't want you, this to be like a burden because, hey, I don't want you to just come around because now I have a baby and you feel like you need to help out. I just want you to come around to just be a friend still.
Just talk
Just
Yeah.
to
want
me.
you to
Just stand
express.
there for
Be
moral
around
support
me.
while I'm getting puked up on.
Yeah.
you know?
And it's and I feel that if people would talk about it more, if there would be a more understanding, it would be, mothers would have an understanding of what's really going on with them. It, I Let me go into the deep parts. Yeah, it was last week, I think it was. I had been stuck in the house for days and by myself. Um, my husband, was out doing what he needs to do. And, it's just me in the house, me and the baby. And I don't want to call my mom because I feel like I don't want to bug her. I don't want to annoy her. She's going through her stuff. And we don't know who else to talk to. And I'm spiraling. I haven't fed myself. I haven't showered. I haven't done anything. I'm just my full focus is on her, making sure that she's not crying, making sure she's all, set up and fine. And s- sometimes she doesn't want me to put her down, so I'm consistently holding her. And so now I'm not being able to get up and do something, whether it's clean the house or, make me something to eat. And I'm just sitting there and I'm spiraling. And my mind's going, maybe I'm not doing this right. Maybe I'm, you know, I have all these other thoughts. And then the thought of harming myself. It was an image of what to do. And I'm holding her on my lap. And it freaked me out so bad because I was like, whoa, that's not me. This is not okay. And I, having that thought of hurting myself while I'm holding my child, the one that brings me joy and happiness, was probably the hardest thing I've ever faced. And I am, I am taking measures to find help and get help, therapy for me to work through this. But obviously, it was simply because I was fully alone. I felt fully alone. That I had nobody to turn to because I didn't want to be a burden, because I didn't want to be the person who talks about their kid and what they're going through, and that's all I can talk about because that's all I have that's going on in my life right now, where other people are going out to the movies and with friends and going bowling with friends and doing all these things with friends, and you know I'm sitting here grieving my life going, okay, I can do that if I'm invited to go do that. But I don't want to ask for somebody to take me to go do that because I wasn't invited. Why am I going to ask somebody to invite me to go do something?
Yeah.
Why are you going to beg to be in somebody's life, in other words?
Yeah.
I've
And
done
that's
that
where
quite a few times.
I think like having like some sort of app that like help you understand like, hey, you need help, even if you don't feel like your family is there to help you, or you feel like what you said, Giselle, like you felt like your mom also had a lot of stuff on her plate and you don't want to put a lot more on her. Like if there's a way that we can create something where like mothers can feel that they can work with each other and help each other, like hey, send a message like I need help.
An
Like I'm
SOS
sure,
button or something.
yeah, like I'm sure there's
With
so many people that would be like, I
judgment.
hear you, I'll be there, I'm near you. What do you need me to pick up? Or you wanna go out? Like bring your baby, I'll hold your baby, and you can get like a
Give your
massage.
poor arms a break,
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Which,
and
Giselle, first, I want to tell you, you are never a burden. Ever. I don't care
no,
what I'm going through. I know I'm going through a lot of my own personal life, but it doesn't matter. You are never a burden, ever.
I know. And that's something I have to teach myself. I'm learning that myself, and
It's hard to learn.
I'm learning to recognize that I am a good mom. I am doing things right. Not everything is going to be right. I'm a first time mom. I'm going to make mistakes. It happens. And I feel that if we can live in a world without judging each other as moms, people are so judgmental. So they have Facebook groups and stuff like that for us to be able to be moms, but then you have people who are so judgmental towards you, you don't want to post about it because I simply had a bad thought.
Mm-hmm.
The audacity. How do I even speak about that without somebody actually judging me and looking at me going, okay, you're psycho. No, I'm not. I'm just literally going through the postpartum emotions, and any mom who has been through it themselves would understand. Not like we said, not everybody goes through them, but we all are first time moms at some point.
It's actually more common than we are allowing ourselves to like acknowledge. It's more common
Hmm.
than we know.
Absolutely.
And if we understand, like, because I've gone through it, Giselle, and this time it was not like hurting myself, it was hurting my child. And I didn't have any help. I was completely doing everything on my own. My mom wasn't there ever to help me. My mother in law never came and helped me. and my sisters. And I never asked for help because I didn't know how to ask for help. I didn't like you, I didn't want a burden on somebody else because this is my child, and I didn't know how to go about asking. And yeah, over time, when you go through a state of starving because you're not feeding yourself and you're not taking in proper minerals because, hey, you forget because you've been taking care of the baby, and then start getting irritation, like I can't stand breastfeeding, like I can't, like you don't want to like keep taking the bra, putting it back on, like it's just so annoying, your back aches, and the list just goes on and on. And as that list keeps going, it starts building that frustration, that anger, all these different emotions starts going, you just start building, and then you just end up getting these thoughts, these horrific thoughts. And I remember, and this is so bad, I remember getting a horrible thought that I would never do, and it was, hey, put your baby in the oven and you'll be fine. And I'm like, what? Like, am I crazy? Like a huge part of me was like, no, you need help. So in that moment, yeah, prayer is so important. And I relied on God. I asked him, like, give me strength. I need strength until my husband gets home. Because I wasn't in like the best relationship with my in-laws. I didn't have a relationship with my family, and I didn't know who to call. I didn't know of any like health groups, motherly groups that would help. I just, I didn't have friends, and I was introvert, and I didn't know how to make friends. So there's so much that goes into it when people start judging you, and you don't want to be vulnerable and say, hey, this is what I have a problem with, knowing that they're going to judge you. Like, it's just hard. And as soon as my husband came home, I'm like, here, take the baby. Like, I was just angry. He was so sweet. And I just went away, and I kind of told him what had happened. I'm like, I need my space. I need my time. And you do. Parents, mothers need time. They need a reset, or energy reset, where they can take the time to calm their body, to calm their mind, take a bath, a peaceful bath without interruption, that you could just like reset, even if it's 30 minutes, come back and say, oh my gosh, you're a completely new person. And I think if people understood like how much that is needed rather than judging, I think we can help one another in a way that they need help, because every single person is completely different and unique. We don't know exactly how their body functions or their mind function, what they're lacking, the deficiencies they have that is causing them to act the way they are, the thoughts that they're thinking. Like, if we just see mothers as someone, a beautiful thing that brought a child into their life, into this world, and how we can help them, I think things will be a little bit better. In a way, like, how can we help you? What can I do?
And understanding, taking a moment to understand that these people, that your mothers, are learning how to take care of an entire human being.
Yeah.
Be an entire human, and be a human being's entire supply, emotional regulation, food, clothing, cleanliness, love, all of those things. The demand is not small. The demand is definitely not a small demand. And sometimes when, I know for me personally, and it's been a lot of years since I was in postpartum, but for me personally, one of the things that I wanted to do was just crawl in the deepest, darkest hole. Like, even feeding, and I went through really bad postpartum depression with my son, my second child. And I just remember there was nothing that could make me want to feel like I didn't want to be in the deepest, darkest hole. Like, that's where I wanted to be. That's where I was like, nope, that's where I'm going to be the most comfortable. Find me a cave, find me a, because we lived in Nevada, find me a one of those mines, and I'll just go walk down in one of those and never come back out. Like, that's literally the thoughts that went through my head as we're driving and I'm seeing mines. It's like, ooh, that looks like a good one. How about we stop right here and I just go walk in and never come out? And it's just that responsibility along with the mind fuckery of the hormones and everything else. And Giselle, you are such an amazing mom, and I cannot tell you enough. And I don't think you could be told enough of what an amazing mom you are compared to. I mean, I wasn't a horrible mom at the beginning, but in the comparison, I see that there's this love that you have for your child immediately that some moms don't.
Mm-hmm.
You have this love and this huge bond with your child already, where a lot of moms don't. So the demand that you have on yourself is ginormous, like it's unmeasurable, the demand of being a mom. And when you go from the demand of just having to take care of yourself to the demand of this entire human being and this soul and everything else, I think that that's something that weighs really hard too, because you don't want to screw that up.
It's one thing that's a big fear of, is screwing it all up. Which, and like I said, it's teaching yourself that you're going to make mistakes, and it's okay to make mistakes as long as you can, learn from it. And, it's a learning process for the baby as well. They're learning to be human.
Exactly.
And I feel that I definitely think that talking about it more helps. I do think that women should be more supportive of each other on motherhood and being there for one another. And, you know, I have a thing, and this could be, and I could be wrong for this, is when I and this might be common, but like when I'm out and about with my child and I do something a certain way with her, I have people who give unwarranted or unsolicited advice.
Everybody loves the unsolicited and unwarranted advice, don't we all?
And because of my postpartum, I get angry. I get so angry, and I bite my tongue because I don't want I just go, thanks, and just try to carry on. And then, of course, my mom hears it, my husband hears it. Like, I go, I spiral and I lose my shit about it. Because I'm like, I don't know what they think they're doing. And I feel that if we sit there, and because I know at the same time we should ask for advice and then, give the advice type thing. But then here we talk about how we have a hard time asking for help. So sometimes it's hard to ask for advice. And I haven't had a problem asking for advice. Maybe because I do a podcast. Hello, I get advice every day. But I don't know. I have you guys ever had come across being given advice on something that you were like, why the hell are you giving me advice on this? Either one of you.
I'll let Avonlea answer first, because Giselle, you already know the answer. Mine doesn't necessarily have to do with, well, it does have to do with children, but you know a lot of mine part. But I'll let Avonlea answer that.
You're gonna always, I guess you're gonna always have people like that. The Karen of any subject. You're gonna have that. So I've had like people come up to me and was offended that I was breastfeeding, and said, "Hey, if you're exhausted, you probably just should bottle feed." or like co-sleep with your child. You shouldn't do that. Stuff like that. But hey, I co-slept with my child and it provided me the rest that I needed. Like I figured out ways that's going to help me just because I didn't have the help. I, when I talked about like the thought-provoking thoughts of my child, I called my mom and told her about that, and she didn't help me. And I was crying. I really needed help. And I went to somebody that was abusive to me as a child, seeking somebody to help me, and didn't get the help that I needed. So with that in mind, I'm like, well, I have to figure out ways that's gonna help me. And I knew, like, by researching the benefits of breastfeeding, and if God allowed breastfeeding to happen, there's something beautiful with that, and it helps feed your baby, it grows your baby. And so
there's a lot of really magical stuff about breast milk.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really magical properties about breast milk, and I did a lot of stuff. I studied a lot of different things because when Giselle was pregnant too. But yeah, there's a lot of beautiful things that happen with breastfeeding. And for people to get angry, like for people to be like, "Oh, that's horrible." Number one, it's a child eating, people. It is a baby.
And I would never like expose myself at all. I would always cover myself.
Cover up. And
yeah, I actually got to the point where I would just only like leave any building, go to the car and feed my baby just because I didn't want anybody to feel a little awkward, having to eat in front of them. And it was also more comfortable for me because I didn't want the stares. Like I didn't care just because people don't know how to handle,
the taboo.
Yeah.
Which, that's something that we really need to really do also discuss because we're talking about a mother taking care of her child. And here we are talking about the things that, it is so hard. And then you get these stares and these judgments because you're literally just feeding your child because they can't handle the thought of they sexualize the boob so much. Now that it's like, oh gosh, no, there's nothing wrong with a 3-year-old seeing a woman breastfeeding. You're not seeing anything except for a baby head. You know what I mean? I mean, and for a mother to go through all of the other pressures and all of the other judgments. There is my beautiful baby. But all the other judgments that you guys that goes on, and like you were saying, you were so afraid of the judgment because of the thought of, I'm going to put my baby in the oven and everything's going to be okay. People don't understand that walking through the grocery store, breastfeeding your baby, you're having to run out to the store or run out to the car to breastfeed your baby. Those things feed that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it does. It really does, and it just adds to it. And it's hard because you're gonna always have that type of Karen that's going to judge you, and it just makes it harder because it's not only when you go out to Walmart, it's online too. When you're getting the help that you need on Facebook, like Facebook groups, and you actually start asking for help, but then there's always those one person that's like, you're doing it wrong, or this is it, and you don't want to like come back. You just don't feel like, oh, this isn't a place for me. And we need to understand that everybody is going to react differently, and just because you might know it all doesn't mean everybody else does. Nobody
wants to hear that you know it all.
we just need more people to be more calm, compassionate, understanding. Understanding, I think, is the key. If we can just understand, knowing that somebody is going through a hard time and they're thinking bad thoughts, it's not really that they're going to hurt or harm. They're just seeking and needing help at that time before it becomes permanent, and
yes.
we just need to be better.
I also want to call out some, and I'm not saying that Giselle had told me that she went to several different places seeking help, and everybody was so caught up in their own that they didn't recognize or bother to stop to even try to see. And she went to places that were made for help, you know, and she was ignored. In not in just one, not in just two, not in just three. We're talking in multiple different facets that she went looking for help, and she was ignored. She felt very ignored. She felt that nobody even cared about her even being there. Nobody even saying hello or acknowledging her. And we've got people that are on different platforms that are set up that want to help. And I'm not trying to call anybody out and say that they're not doing their work. I'm just saying that we need to do more into the realization that sometimes in your chat or in your ball pit, whatever you want to call it, there's people in there that are in there, and you're just supposed to be in there for a reason to help these people, but these people were so caught up in chatting about a whole bunch of other stuff that they didn't even recognize where Giselle was at.
Yeah.
And that's dangerous.
It is really dangerous. And I think if we create like a group in like a different way, where it's like, hey, I need help, can somebody come on and talk with me?
Yeah.
If we could just talk to people, and just, if people can volunteer and say, yeah, I'm here, I can help you, what can we talk about, even pray over them, and just
Absolutely.
say something that's like positive, inspiring, what can we do to help you, we'll pray for you, we're gonna get a group of people that will pray for you, and then following up with them and letting them know, hey, how are you doing now, how are you feeling, hey, we prayed for you. I think that shows like a big difference to a person that's going through like being a mother and having another toddler. Have you guys ever, like, you went through this, having another toddler and they're screaming, and then you have a newborn and you're trying to like juggle this?
Juggle it all, yeah. Mm-hmm. I had Giselle by the time I had Giselle at the age of 18, and I had my second born at the age of 20. So at 20 years old, I had a newborn, and they're literally 2 years and 3 days apart. So like I had a newborn, and I was so far from healed that I didn't even understand how I was still abusing myself. I was still doing all the horrible things, because a lot of abuse I brought onto myself, you know. That was still experiencing so much abuse in different relationships and stuff like that I didn't even recognize. Like, now I look back at it and I'm like, wow, no wonder I was a basket case trying to take care of two little ones, you know, like, and it came down to that community and needing the people there to help with the thoughts, to help with all of that stuff. Like, when I had, my third child, I have adopted children, and then I have children that I gave natural birth to. But when it came to like my youngest that I gave birth to, I literally almost died. There was like an 80% chance of me not surviving. The hospital said I had full-blown preeclampsia, my liver had shut down, and my kidneys were completely shut down for over a week. So I was going into sepsis. And literally after I gave birth, the hospital charted down all of the medications that they gave me, including morphine, put child protective services on me, and walked me. I didn't even get wheeled out. What woman has a baby and doesn't get wheeled out of the hospital? I walked out in less than 24 hours after giving birth to her. Like, I was so not, like, you know. But then I went back to work within a week because I had to. My husband at the time was not working. We were living with his parents. There was no other income coming in. So what did I have to do? I had to go back to cleaning houses, bending over tubs and all kinds of, you know, and mopping and doing all the hard work a week after having kidney failure, liver failure, and having a baby.
Oh my gosh, that's a lot. That puts so much stress on your body.
And I was in an abusive relationship. Like, yeah.
So, okay, so Sila, what if you were in that position, and let's just say that you were in Walmart and you had a newborn baby in your hand and a crying couple crying toddlers from the ages 5 or like 3, and they were just screaming and you're just trying to get things done. What would you like people to see, or like off the way you could use the help? Because sometimes we don't know exactly how to help them because we might feel like we're getting in the way, or they might feel like
Or
we're
coming
judging
off
them.
creepy.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. So, what are some ways? Because I want to know some ideas. So, if I'm ever in a situation where I see a mother in this, just what I just described to you, like, what are ways that you think
I
would
think I
be?
first, so I wouldn't come off creepy, because that's my initial thought. That's where my initial thought goes, and that's just because of the business that we're in, podcasting, and the situations we've all experienced throughout our lives. All three of us have on this panel. So immediately I go creep. So I think me, if I were to come across a mom that's got, say, two screaming toddlers and an infant in her arms, and she's just trying to grab groceries and get the hell home so she can make dinner and go on with all of her life. First, I think I would ask her if it was okay if I helped her. If I think that would be the first step, and I do this mainly because, one, respect, pure respect. Some people don't want you touching their babies.
Yeah.
Some people are, some people understand that there's an energy exchange, and babies are very sensitive to energies. So I can understand where, if you don't know me, you don't want me touching your baby, I'm not going to go up and just touch your baby. I won't even do that to my own granddaughter without my daughter's permission. You know what I mean? And it's just out of pure respect. First, I would ask, hey, would you like some help? Or I'm noticing that you've got a lot on your hands right here. Is there anything that I could do that can help you in this moment?
So,
You know
like
what I mean?
taking your groceries to your car. Can I
Yeah.
help take
Like,
groceries?
is there anything that I can do in this moment to help you? Whether it be grab something off the shelf for you, or helping you put your groceries in the car, or holding the cart while you put your kids in the car to make sure that they're secure. Because when you have kids, you have to think even down to the part of, do I put the groceries in the car first, or do I put the kids in the car first? Those things all, and a lot of people that don't have kids, or it's been a long time since they've had kids, don't understand or don't remember that just that that choice right there. Do I put the kid in the car first, or do I put the groceries in first? And
Or
while
do
I
I
put the
start the
groceries
car?
in, or
Or
do
do
I
I need to?
start the car first and put the
Yeah.
baby in, or like what do I do? Because you can't leave the baby in the grocery cart by yourself, and while you go and start the car, because, well, that is dangerous in multiple different levels. But if it's hot in the car, you don't want to put the baby in a hot car and put groceries in the car. Like, the level of choices that mothers and parents have to make on an every second and moment to moment basis are so crucial. And I guarantee that there's a lot of women, and I guarantee Giselle, that is something that she's like, okay, which one do I do first? And it's not just a one-time thing that you think that. It's
I
an
have
every time.
I have came across that when I went grocery shopping by myself. I'm like, hold on. Because now it's Texas been even getting winter, so it hasn't really been cold. And so the cars are hot. And so I'm like, do I put the baby in the car first and then start the car? Or like, how do I do that? And then you have to put the car up and your baby's in the car. And then so now you're sitting here going, well, now what do I do?
Yeah.
There are
I
more.
remember I remember that being one of the biggest parts with me, because like I remember it was I just got off work and I had closed for Arby's at that point in time, so I didn't get off work until like midnight, and I had to get gas, and all that was let open was the little window, so I couldn't go into the store, and I was like, okay, do I grab my baby? And this is when Giselle was only a few months old. So it was like, do I grab my baby out of the car seat? Why is she sleeping? Wake her all up. And now I have a screaming baby that's pissed off, hungry, and now not being answered to, you know. Or do I just like lock the doors and go pay for the gas? Or do I remember that so vividly. And that being one of the pivotal moments where I was like, this shit's rough. Literally.
Yeah, it really is. Those are like questions that I think we need to talk about more. And then what are some like ideas that people can do to help out if they're in a situation like that? Because it's hard, and it would make it a little easier for a mother.
Well,
It
first
really
and foremost,
is.
we have to stop
Yeah.
seeing. We have to see past our own noses. You know, first and foremost, we have to be able to see past our own noses. That's
Yeah.
the first and foremost. And a lot of us are, and me included. I ignore a lot of things too. I'm not innocent. You know, is I'm caught up in my own mind doing my own thing. We're all caught up in our own lives doing our own thing. And then there's the question of, am I creepy if I ask if they want help? Am I being weird? Are they gonna look at me weird? Or they, you know, there's
Yeah.
all of that.
Well, and one thing that I just want to put out there before we go and end this episode is that my doctor looked at me before, I think it was literally a week after giving birth. He looked at me and told me, take care of yourself. He goes, postpartum is mainly because you do not take care of yourself. You need to put yourself first so you can take care of that little one. And I didn't realize the extent of that when he said that. I was like, yeah, duh, of course, I'm gonna take care of myself, like, but
But
the
it doesn't work like
extent,
that though.
it doesn't. And I didn't recognize that at first. And
Hmm.
like literally, I don't think I've talked about it on our podcast, but the hospital trauma that I went through, I didn't sleep for a week straight while I was in the hospital. After I slept for maybe 3 hours after giving, or no, 2 hours after giving birth, and that was all the sleep I really got. I was pumped up on medications where I was supposed to sleep. And they were supposed to knock me out, and it was not working. And so I had all this hospital trauma. And then I'm getting just had more trauma before leaving the hospital. Looked at them and said, "F you, I'm going home." And because they wanted to keep me even longer because of my blood pressure, they were worried about preeclampsia or eclampsia because it was afterwards, and having a seizure because of my blood pressure being high. And my doctor and I already discussed it. He already released me, but another doctor wanted to keep me longer. So I was bawling because they wanted to keep me longer. My husband's like, no, she's going home. She's ready to go home. She wants to be home.
She
And
was
then
not on a regular bed, people. She was not
I
on a
was,
regular bed. She was on a delivery table the entire week. It was a yes, yes, yes.
and I
So
couldn't move, get up
extremely
because,
painful.
and I wasn't allowed to get up because I was on magnesium and before the preeclampsia. So I was stuck in the same spot for
Yeah,
days.
talk about tailbone pain.
I wonder
I
if
think,
that kind of like triggers your postpartum. I wonder if
And
and
you
it.
that's
know,
what
that's a very
maybe.
good question. Ooh,
That's
that's a
a
very
great
good
question
question.
because the only time I didn't feel anything is when I finally got my um epidural. That's when I was finally okay. And I because that bottom half of my
That was like
body is
three
numb.
days into. That was like 3 days into her hospital stay. Is when she
Yeah.
got the epidural, and because they were giving her medications to induce the labor, but then giving her medications to stop the labor. It was like it was hell. Like she went through
Yep.
such traumatic, and when I say you know, they have the delivery beds and delivery tables, and they have beds. She had a bed that would turn into a delivery table. So she had just, imagine being in jail and having your mat on your metal slat. That's what she had. Was her
It was the
mat on
most
a metal
uncomfortable
slat
thing. And I like
while
rolling
she's
over in it
giving birth.
was, yeah, it was the
Yeah.
most uncomfortable thing.
I'm so
And
sorry.
the only time I was somewhat comfortable was when I had the epidural because I felt nothing. But here I was in labor, getting close to giving birth, so I had contractions on top of that. And so, it wasn't until like 2 days after I gave birth when I finally got into a postpartum room with an actual bed. And that, I mean, it was still a hospital bed, but it wasn't a bed. And so I got maybe a couple hours of sleep in there. But I was just so exhausted, and I was scared to fully fall asleep because of her. I was scared of her something happening to her because my reality was I'm going to lose my baby no matter what because I've had an experience loss of losing a baby prior. Yes, it was still in my
Right.
womb, but it still existed in
But
my
still,
mind.
yeah.
Yeah.
When you have
And so
infertility issues.
and so when they finally released us and I was coming home, I was so exhausted and so scared that I was going to fall asleep and not be able to wake up to her, or I was not going to sleep at all. And I was bawling. I was crying so hard. I looked at her and I begged her. I was like, "Can Jocelyn stay, please?" Which is my sister. And I was like, "Can she please stay? Because I need help." And she's like, "Yeah." And my sister stayed up all night with her. And I'm like, I woke up every like couple of hours anyways. I got like 4 hours of sleep and then I came out here and I was like, here, I could take over and you can get some rest. And as I'm sitting there holding my baby, I'm starting to fall asleep again. And my sister's like, no, you go back to bed.
Hmm.
And but that whole experience was so traumatic because it was okay, now you're going to be put on magnesium. You can't get up out of bed. You can't go to the bathroom. Nope, you're stuck in bed. Now I'm completely uncomfortable. Well, you have to be on magnesium 24 hours after giving birth and you're back to not getting up and out of bed. And I'm like, I feel disgusting. I want to shower. And luckily, my nurses understood and was like, no, you can get a shower before we put you back on the magnesium. It's
Oh,
like,
jeez.
they were like, I was able to get my shower after birth because I was like, I need a shower. I feel disgusting. But then you don't know how to take care of yourself after giving birth. You're handed all this product and you're going, what the fuck do I do with it? And you're not
Right.
knowing what to do. And I'm sure if I asked the nurses, luckily I watched a lot of postpartum videos of how to take the aftermath, how to take care of yourself. But it was still confusing as all high hell for me because I'm going, okay, do I do this? How do I do this? Like,
Hmm.
I can't imagine a woman have giving birth and not knowing exactly what to do and then not having the staff to help her. Because after I gave birth, I was forgotten about. I'm not gonna lie, because those nurses were delivery nurses and so they had new patients. They took over new patients. And I was completely forgotten. They were forgetting to bring me my prenatals. They were forgetting to bring me, all kinds. They weren't checking up on me like they were supposed to. It was like, nope, not even there anymore. It was insane.
Yeah, it's hard
Yeah.
because it's like a routine and for
Mm-hmm.
them. And this is completely new for you, new baby, new atmosphere, new everything. And it gets to the point where it's like, hey, I'm nervous to like push this red button because I need help. And if you do, it's like 20 minutes and you're like, did I get forgotten? Do I need to push
Nope.
that button again? Like, because you kind of want to be respectful for other mothers that are also going through the similar situation you are. But again, you're like, oh, I need to, I need help. or how do I
Mm-hmm.
do this, or how do I order food because I'm getting hungry, and
Right?
it's
Even
hard.
down to the smallest things of like ordering food. Like you
Mm-hmm.
forget how to literally you do forget how to take care of yourself.
Yeah, like
Well, and
it's
whenever I'm in the hospital, even without having a baby, I do not like bugging the nurses. I feel like I'm bothering them. I and this is a trauma thing. This is their job to take
mhm.
care of you. And I'm sitting there going, I don't want to bug them. They're probably, especially at
They're
night. They're
probably
they're
busy with somebody else. Da, 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 da. You know, they're literally getting paid to take care of you.
Yep.
And so my biggest thing was asking for help. My husband had to be my advocate because I was like, no, I don't want to bug them. He was my biggest advocate in all of it. But when it came down to not even just asking for food, but like I was getting up to go into the bathroom because they still didn't put a catheter back into me after I gave birth. But because I was still on magnesium, they started the drip, but it was plugged into the wall. So I would have to ask to go to the bathroom. And and so it took them forever. And then they would unplug it and then just leave me. And here's the thing is magnesium, it causes your muscles to relax. It's a muscle relaxer. So
Hmm.
that's why they put, and that makes you a fall risk immediately. And so that's
Hmm.
why they put a catheter and make you stay in bed. And so they didn't, partially upon request for me. And I think that it was also because they forgot on
Hmm.
my sake, because I needed up out of the bed. And so my husband had to walk with me. And also my legs were so swollen, so
Yeah.
freaking swollen from being bedridden for 5 days. And so when it was finally able to stand up, it was almost like jello. And so the first time I had somebody kind of stick around for a second, but then the second time around, I asked for somebody to come back and let me go to the bathroom because they're the ones that are supposed to unplug it and everything because it's
Hmm.
their equipment. Well, then this nurse was like, your husband can unplug it and take you to the bathroom. It's fine. It hit that point, and it was just like, but this is your job. And
Yep.
I'm like, I just gave birth, and you guys are, it,
Paying
there
a
was
lot of money
some,
for this too.
Yeah,
and
right?
yes,
I'm paying a lot of money for this too. Yeah,
and
exactly.
and this was just my experience. I know there's women out there who have been through worse experiences. This was not a horrible, horrible experience, but it was horrifying. There was things that,
Hmm.
being stuck in bed, being uncomfortable, not being able to sleep, being so pumped up on medications that you want to sleep, but you actually physically cannot sleep because you're not comfortable. And, you know, but they put me in a position that made me feel like I was asking too much,
Hmm.
when I was supposed to ask for help to get up to go to the bathroom, when I was supposed to. And those are the things that don't help when you're in that mindset.
Yeah,
Right.
But
Yeah.
I agree
I,
with you.
I desperately wanted to just say, my doctor though, he told me there right then and there at the hospital, take care of yourself. When you go home, make sure you take care of yourself because it's not easy. And that's where a lot of women end up in postpartum depression because they forget about themselves. And it's still hard. I'm 15 weeks into this and I'm still having a hard time asking for help. And I just want to let other women know you are not a bad mom if you are asking for help, that you are not asking too much. And don't ever let anybody make you feel that way because I'd only made myself feel that way. My husband could just breathe, and I was feeling like a horrible mom because he was holding the baby and I was not, because I took 5 minutes on the porch or I took an extra long shower to just feel human again.
Yeah, and those are so important. Um, and again, like if we ask for help, like how much
You're
more
not weak.
better of a parent we can become. you know, because we have a time to reset, we have a time for ourselves, and we can be able to help your child or help your husband help function the household a little bit better than if you didn't have any help. Like
Yes.
we I don't know. I think we need to allow that taboo to dissolve and renew our minds, like take that shield off the scales off our eyes, and like look with a new vision, look with a chance with like Giselle's lens. Like, hey, you're a mom. This is what you're going through. Put yourself in their position and see, can you handle all that they're going through? What can you do in the moment to be able to help them? What can, you know, like there's so many different ways that we can help out, and we need to sometimes forget that, hey, we're going to be a burden to be able to help somebody else out, but hey, I can be a helpful tool to brighten somebody's day just by offering. Even if they don't want me to touch the baby, I can wheel the cart out to them. Maybe, hey, let me take the cart while you take care of the baby, and I'll help shop for you because I got enough time. I'm not doing anything. What is on your list? Let's help you out so then we can get you out to your car faster. You can take care of your baby in more peace. I think there's some more ways that we can help each other if we're not always absorbed with ourselves. And also, just like that whole creepiness. There's so many creepy people out there, but also understand there's also good people out there
There's
that
just
don't.
as many good people with good intentions that don't want to touch your baby, that just want to help you. Yeah,
And
absolutely.
yeah, and Giselle, you are a good mom, and you're beautiful. Your baby's beautiful, and things are just gonna keep blossoming. And just know that you will have like hiccups down the road here and there. We all do, and it's okay to ask for those time, even when your child is getting a little bit bigger. It's okay to keep
She's
asking.
growing so much.
She's so cute.
And for the people that are listening, you're not weak for asking for help. You're not insufficient. You're not less than. You're not a horrible mom. None of that. We all need help at certain times in our lives, and it's okay for you to take that a few more minutes in the shower to just enjoy it. It's okay for you to walk out on your porch or to go out and water your garden for a couple of minutes. Whatever it is that you do, that you need to do for you, you're doing it for your baby as well. It's not just for you, it is for your child as well, because it will make you a calmer, more patient, and
Yep.
more understanding parent.
Yep.
Anybody else have anything to add
Yeah, I
for
was gonna add
Randus?
one more thing.
Okay.
You know how I mentioned that I did ask for help with my mom, and she wasn't there to help me. Well, if you ever been in an abusive situation where you ask somebody and they just don't offer help, and you just again think like you can't, you're a burden and you don't want to ask, and you stop asking, I just suggest that you keep asking. Go out of your comfort zone, reach out in a different area, different angles, and keep asking, because there will be somebody that will help you out. They will understand you, and it's in that moment where like you might be exhausted, but it's better than saying like, oh, I'm alone, completely utterly alone, I have to do this alone. Just because one person rejected you doesn't mean that there are going to be many that will reject you. There will be somebody that's going to help you. So keep fighting for yourself and your future, and just know that there are people there that's there to want to support you and want to see the healthy version of you succeed.
Agreed.
Absolutely agreed. With that, if you would like to reach out to us, you can reach out to us on 12 looking through THRU 34 the glass at gmail.com. You can reach us on our Facebook and our TikTok. And you can also comment on this video on our YouTube. We thank you for watching and listening. And until next time, thanks for looking into the glass.